I'm going to assume that Mr. Biden was a rational leader and that Kamala Harris likewise. I'm assuming that. They would have seen that there are three ways things can go in Ukraine. Number one, we can have a nuclear fight with the Russians. I want to remind everyone, because Americans don't like to face this. Most of the world believes, and that's all I can say, therefore I believe it too, that the largest nuclear Armageddon force in the world is the Russians. Bigger than the Chinese and bigger than ours. Number two, a conventional war. That would mean hundreds of thousands of American troops would have to be shipped over there and fight against the Russians. You know, the record historically is not real good. Napoleon invaded Russia, was real sorry. Hitler invaded Russia, was real sorry. Do we really? Mr. Biden always said, no troops on the ground, no boots on the ground. He seemed, and I'm going to give him credit, that's a recipe for a disaster that we will not be able to control. Okay, but there is no third option other than to walk away. Mr. Trump said, I agree with you, I'm walking away. Mr. Trump did it. Mr. Biden couldn't because he was so deeply in. Look, it took us, most people understand, it took us several years to withdraw from Afghanistan. But we lost in Afghanistan. I know this is hard for Americans. We went to war in Afghanistan against the Taliban. You know who runs the country now? The Taliban.
And it didn't take long.
No, we lost. We went into Vietnam to fight against the North Vietnamese. The country was divided at that time, which was run by the North Vietnamese Communist Party. You know who runs Vietnam now? The Communist Party. We lost. All right, we went into Iraq. We were supposed to do something there, hard knows what, but we lost there. We're gone there too. And we're in the process of losing Ukraine. If you're an empire and you lose against some of the poorest countries on earth, you know what it suggests? Something's wrong. Look, when you came out of World War II in 1945, the United States was absolutely dominant. Most of the second half of the 20th century, where people, watching this program, we all have at least some memory about it. We were the richest country, the most politically powerful. We had all those bases around the world. We had the biggest military. Wow. Yes, it go to your head. It does. We were king of the hill. But those things are always temporary. They always have been. When we go to Egypt, we look at the ruins of their empire. When we go to France, we look at the chateaus that are the memory of what they once were. It's not going to happen to us. We're somehow different. It's already happened. We haven't been paying attention because it's so painful to look at. I think I'm the patriot saying to America, to save the good things about the society, let's sit down and work with... Look, China says, I'm not asking anyone to believe it. I'm not sure I believe it. But China says they're in favor of a multinational world. They're not interested in being the next empire. Maybe because they once were an empire some centuries ago, they may understand better than most that it's a short run. It's a heady run, but it's a short run. And maybe they will be willing to sit down. And then the United States has a really good deal because right after China, it's us. We still are rich and powerful as a nation.
Just moving in the wrong direction.
That's right. So maybe the best move is to sit down with the up-and-comers and work something out.